Hello and welcome to another episode of the Robertson Stash. I'm here with my co-host Sean Callahan.
Hey, Matt.
And today our guest is Karma Glass. How you doing, brother?
Blessed, brother. Privileged to be here.
Thank you for being here. We've been working together the last week or so, making some cool pieces.
Absolutely, man. We've been throwing down and going hard. We've made 3 functionals and 2 pendants to this point, I think, and had a collector from just outside of Denver come through and scoop.
Just today?
Yeah, scoop one of the pieces up. And so it's been
awesome.
Positive, productive experience with you, man.
Hell yeah.
All the way on down to getting to go up to Keystone yesterday.
That was fun.
Yee!
How'd you like that?
Oh, man, that was awesome. I had to just go full force in, man, and give it my best. But it's been over 20 years since I've been skiing, so
you did great.
It slowly came back to me, man.
Yeah. After how many runs do you think we did? Like maybe like 6 or 7?
Yeah, probably 6 or 7
By the 7th
around.
one, you were crushing it, dude.
Man, it was a great time, man. We were zinging around. So,
do you ski or snowboard? I
ski, man. I can't stand laterally. I'm not a surfer or a skater. Every time I do, I bust my ass. But growing up, I was a rollerblader and I did ice hockey and
forward facing.
Yep, forward facing I can do. So that's the style, man. I've never stepped outside of it, but I look forward to trying to snowboard one day.
Okay. Yeah, I was always terrible at road.
Do you ski or snowboard?
I mean, I snowboard because I was a skateboarder, and I was always facing sideways. If I went to the ice rink, dude, it was murder.
Yeah,
terrible.
Yeah,
terrible time. So I snowboard.
Heck yeah.
Right on. Well, dude, tell us how you got into glass blowing.
Yeah, man. So I got into glass blowing the way I think a lot of people do, and that's just a avid interest in smoking herb and looking into the plant for different experimentation as a youth, and as I was able to meet with people who had pipes and pieces, I was able to see my first glass pieces and acquire my own.
Because you were getting into like veterinarian business, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah, I was a veterinary technician for 7 years. So that was something that always was a calling to me when I was a young man. I'd go to the Humane Society and walk the dogs on the weekends, go to PetSmart for the adoptions, and I'd walk the dogs and stuff, take care of the kitty cats. So
did you have an animal growing up?
Oh yeah. Yep. I always had like at least 2 dogs and a cat running around. Sometimes more than that. Sometimes a couple of cats and 3 dogs, but for the most part, a couple dogs and a cat running around was a staple in my household. And
do you have animals right now?
Yeah. I have 1 cat. My other cat, I had 2 cats. My other cat passed away.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. He was 18 years old, so
wow.
He lived he lived a good long life, man.
Wow.
And so
what's that in kitty years?
Yeah, right. I don't know. I think they do now 7 for the first year and 5 for every year after that is like the newest algorithm on how they do that. So
really? For dogs and cats?
I believe so.
Same?
Yep, similar. Yep.
That's damn near 100.
Yeah, so he put in work, he put in work, man. Rest in peace, Julius, man. What a great cat, man. What a great friend.
Was he orange?
Yep.
Really?
Yep, Orange Julius. Absolutely.
It's the only kind of cat I've ever had was an orange tabby cat.
Orange tabbies are so friendly, man.
Yeah.
So you were trying to be a vet, or you were doing a vet, and you were gonna take over this business?
Yeah. So I first got exposed to glass blowing when I was 17. I was buying pipes from a local legend who would sell pipes down on the street, and I got to see how he did things. But really, honestly, scared me because the way he was, living was like a hand-to-mouth existence, and he wasn't very organized. So it made me really
just 401k.
Yeah, exactly. Just made me want to pursue a path that had more stability, and that's how I found, being a veterinary technician, I started by working in the kennel and worked my way up. And it wasn't until I the company-wide got a surprise drug test, and that put me in a position where they found out for the first time that I'm a marijuana smoker. And so
they didn't have any idea before that?
You'd think they did, man, but no, they didn't.
Pulling up in a VW?
Yeah, I was driving a VW van to work, and I had long hair, but they were shocked, and they wanted me to go into a almost month-long drug rehabilitation. They wanted me to go to inpatient rehab, and so I was real distraught.
For pot?
Yes, for herb, the owner of the hospital was devastated. He was like, "You're a criminal if you're gonna go to jail." And I'm like, "No, I've been getting high this whole time, I'm like, "You like to drink wine every night. I smoke. What's the big deal?" And he's like, he was devastated. He's like, couldn't understand I was smoking the devil's lettuce. So, wow. Yeah, man. So I used that as it ended up being a crossroads for me, because I called a dear friend of mine who was a glass blower, and he said, "Look, Kev, you don't even know it, but you're a glass blower. You gotta come see how I'm doing it." And so I went up there into Raleigh, North Carolina. I saw how he was living, where he had his wife going to work and then coming home, and he would blow glass from the afternoons to the evenings, and a very simple, very chill pace of lifestyle where he could spend a lot of time at home with the kids and, still fulfill his dream. And so I said, man,
work for yourself.
Yeah, I said, let me try it, and the beginning of my glass blowing paths weren't exactly smooth, because I kind of sunk everything I had into building a little shop, and I was, just trying to swim. And when you first start in blowing glass, it's tough to need income right away from making glass art, because there's just, your skill set is so low. It's hard to make a finished product.
What did you start out making?
I started out making, so what I did was, I didn't even have a kiln yet. I started out making these clear glass chillums, and I would bring them to like Widespread Panic, Fish, Grateful Dead, and any kind of Allman Brothers lot where I knew there was a group of heads that would be interested in buying pipes. And I had a little sign that said, "Unannealed, bats, 1 for 3, 2 for 5. And, people would say, "What's unannealed mean?" And I'd say, "It means they're going to break." And people would be like, "Why the hell would I want to buy them then?" And I'm like, "Because you don't want your headpiece stolen at the show from the security guard." And so they'd start thinking, I'm like, "Yeah, dude, smash them on your way out. Like they're just throwaways."
Yeah.
And so people are like, "Dang, give me 2." So I would sell out of these things quick, and genuinely humble beginnings in that way. Making glass in a broom closet without a kiln, all the way to being in a position to collaborate with people like yourself. It's humble beginnings to get to this path. So I'm super blessed to have been able to walk it.
That's dope.
That's awesome.
Different time back then.
Who's unannealed?
Yeah, who's unannealed, man? I was like, that was my lot name, I guess. Unannealed. But yeah, it was truly a process, because I went ahead and kind of liquidated my 401k, and I liquidated my I took my 2 weeks vacation and cashed it in instead of took it, and I took this little lump of money and I put a lot of it in the bank so that me and my family would be able to be sustained, because I also had my first child on the way when I first started. This all was happening. Wow. Yeah. While this all was happening, my wife's mother was actually in stage 4 lung cancer.
Oh my gosh.
And we conceived our first child, and I'm starting this new path. So it was a lot to take on.
Change.
It was a lot to take on. And so, yeah, anytime anyone comes to me with the glass blowing story of why it can't be done, I always remind them that it can, because, I'm living proof of that,
Just can't quit.
Absolutely not.
So what kind of torch did you buy, your first one?
It was a GTT Scorpion. It was
a little like a tiny.
It was like, it was a tiny little guy, and it was GTT's largest torch that didn't have triple surface mix. So I didn't even have the knob in the middle, which refines your flame.
Yeah.
I just knew from doing my research that I should have a GTT. That was, kind of the going best flame for working cadmiums and stuff,
Yeah.
And looking back, I probably should have just got like a Red Max in a kiln. But everybody has their path.
That's what I started on.
Yeah.
Was, a Red Rocket.
Yeah.
Motel.
That's what I should have done, is just getting probably a Red Max in a kiln. But this was the path, man. This is how it happened for me. So yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the color patterns that you use that you're famous for.
Yeah, man. So this color pattern has gotten me notoriety in the industry, and it's basically my offering to the stained glass look that hasn't been super present in the borosilicate industry. There's of course people that have done some transparent line patterns and things, but I think what's given mine some acceleration and some extra love is not only the fact that the colors that I've chosen to use are so rich and vibrant. A lot of times when people make transparent things, they get washed out because of the lack of saturation, but it's just an overall good aesthetic pattern. And then it's backed up with, the love consciousness that I put forward with the Karma Tribe, I call myself Karma Glass. I lovingly have always called the people who collect my art the Karma Tribe.
Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot.
Yeah, and so
they've been stopping by.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're awesome.
Yeah,
dude.
you've met a few of them.
I love how you interact with your collectors like that.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge part of what I'm doing, because when you think about art, it's meant to make you feel something, and a lot of times when things are just made and put forward, there's a sterility behind them that when the artist can step in and share what these things mean to him or her, can bring forth a lot of that connection that's not present when you just release a work of art to the public. So I'm always on the other end of my DMs. I try to treat my collector base like family, because after all, they're facilitating me and my family to move through space and time. And so it's definitely, it's definitely a huge debt of gratitude that I have to the people that collect my art.
So how did you get the name Karma?
So when I came into it, everyone had a name. There was Operation Pipe Dreams had already happened, and so there was a lot of people who had Snick or Salt or Banjo or what have you. Everyone had a moniker,
like an alias.
Yeah, an alias to kind of use as a bit of a curtain to hide behind. And when I realized that, I was like, I don't want to come out and just be Kevin Kuhn Art. Let me go ahead and find a moniker. But I had already had one from the ciphers, hip hop ciphers in Atlanta, going and bellying up to a rap cipher. You don't ever want to introduce yourself as Kevin or Chris or Tom,
So you would go to like a rap battle before you're
down in Atlanta.
People?
Absolutely. Down in Atlanta when I was first introduced to hip hop, where Atlanta, the Southeast is such a great place for hip hop. Atlanta was always known as the city too busy to be racist. So there's always been a great melting pot between all the cultures, especially like super rich black culture coming right into the inner city. And that has always expressed itself through hip hop, since the, late 70s into the early 80s. Atlanta was one of the first places on the map besides New York that had a rich hip hop scene, evident by all the awesome people who have come out of there, from Outkast and 2 Chainz, Ludacris, the list goes on, right?
Luda.
And so, we would go to the Hillside International Truth Center, the Apache Cafe, and we'd go to the graffiti yards in Atlanta, and those places always had bellied up ciphers of people just spitting rhymes. And so that became something that was free. You knew you could get high, smoke a bunch of herb, and you knew that, everyone, even if you got clowned on, was going to have a good time. Because even if you got roasted, that was just teaching you how to interact. It was teaching you what to say and what not to say.
So it was like a battle you were going against somebody
absolutely.
else?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh. And so Karma, back in its inception, when I bellied up to the ciphers as Karma, there was one of my biggest inspirations and teachers, KRS-One, OG in the hip hop scene, always spitting conscious hip hop. His name means, KRSONE, knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. And so I wanted a moniker. So Karma was, conscious action righteously manifesting awe, and so that was my name, Karma. I'd come in and I'd spit a little conscious flow. I would always
conscious with a K.
Yeah, conscious with a K. Okay. You better believe it. And so so that's where Karma came from. So when I came into the industry and I realized that glass as a medium gives you back what you put into it, I realized you only get what you give in this life. That's karma. And so I had to take on the name Karma, just because in the glass game, you really do only get what you give. And if you put hundreds and hundreds of hours into the craft, then you'll get back hundreds and hundreds of hours in love and accolades, because it's just it's the kind of medium that reciprocates in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, that's how
I believe that too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's anyone who's followed the path can attest to it. You know, anyone who's walked the glass path can attest to the fact that if you give to the glass gods, they'll give back to you.
So you're living in Asheville, North Carolina now?
Asheville, North Carolina.
What's that town like?
I like to call it Hashville, man. It's like an East Coast Boulder, you know. It definitely has a good vibe. Things aren't legal, but things are decriminalized out that way. And there's a long, rich history in the county in which I live of people growing herb and that being kind of a lifeblood of what the area is up to. We're up in the mountains, so it's the perfect elevation to have a bunch of lights up and a few heady indoor grows.
What is the elevation?
We're at like 22 to 26, just depending on where you're at. So we're not super high. We're not as high as you guys here, but the mountains there do provide that cool weather and that ability to grow. So everyone's.
Do you grow outdoors there, or
most people grow indoor? Most people grow indoor, but just because we're nestled in, no matter what season around, you can like crack a window and have your babies be doing good, or you could be growing in the summer and still have where you're dug out in the mountain, a basement house where it's super cool year round. So
sounds like a really cool spot, and it sounds like there's a lot of artists there too.
Yeah, there's a ton of glass art. Mountain Glass Arts, one of the suppliers for the industry.
Oh, Mountain Glass is there.
Yep, is right in Asheville. So
and you said Molten Aura.
Yeah, Molten Aura makes glass there. So there's a lot of glass artists, a lot of production glass artists that not many people have heard of, but that are really the lifeblood of the pipe industry in the way of stocking shelves at head shops with your basic spoons and chillums and rigs, and so
gotta start somewhere.
I think we have over 50 full-time lamp workers in Asheville.
Really?
Just to give you an idea.
What's the population, do you know?
Yeah, it's about 120, I believe.
120,000?
Yeah, maybe 110.
Okay.
It fluctuates.
It's fairly large.
Yeah, it's a large enough town, and so I'm 5 minutes from Glass Supply there in Asheville. So
that's convenient.
Yeah, it's a nice convenient spot.
I gotta ask, how's the barbecue?
Oh man, delicious. Love the barbecue in Asheville.
Good food there?
Yeah, we've got wonderful food. Just tons of different types, from Indian food to, mountain comfort food, barbecue. We've got Asheville is a rich foodie scene.
Yeah.
And it's also a rich beer scene. We kind of go back and forth between Portland, Oregon and Asheville being Beer City, USA, meaning the most active breweries.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like who's the people that make Fat Tire? Is that
Odell's?
No, it's
I should know this.
New Belgium.
New
Belgium. They just moved to Asheville a few years back, and then Sierra Nevada moved to Asheville a few years back.
Oh, really?
Yep. And then we've got tons of microbreweries, so it's out of control, the amount of good gastropubs and good little breweries where you can find all kinds of nice things to drink.
Sounds awesome.
There's a lot of breweries here. I just toured one last week called Coda Brewing.
Yeah.
Out of Golden.
How is it?
It was amazing.
There's supposed to be a lot of good breweries up towards Golden.
He makes mushroom beer.
Ooh.
Really?
Nice. I mean, he makes a handful of different kinds of beers, but he let us try the mushroom beers, and phenomenal.
Do you feel, they make you trip?
No, they're not hallucinogenic, but they are just. The guy knows what he's doing. Yeah, it's fantastic.
That's awesome.
But
give it that umami flavor to the beer, man.
So good.
Yeah, so Asheville is a beautiful place, though, and there's over 200 waterfalls in the area, so tons of natural beauty in Asheville. I encourage anyone who listens to have a visit.
So you think you'll be there for the rest of your life?
Yeah, we just purchased a home a couple years ago, and I built my dream studio. It took me about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, the floors are dope.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's all the way down to the stained concrete finished floors. I mean, it's just
oh, wow.
I kind of took time and built my dream studio, so I aim to be there for as long as I can in Asheville. Absolutely.
Very cool.
So you got room for guests there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We just a couple weeks ago we had Perp Skirp in town, and
nice.
Yeah, we made one of his skirpulator designs, and we had him and his girlfriend MVV Glass.
Yeah.
And so we hosted them for a week.
Nice.
Yeah, we have a place for artists to stay as well as a guest bench already plumbed up, set up.
Nice.
So you don't even have to really even bring a torch. Just bring your tools and a good idea, and we'll get it in. So
Baller.
Yeah. That's awesome. You got murals all over the walls and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had a good dear friend of mine, David Hale, come up from Athens, Georgia. He does a lot of painting with the Conscious Alliance and the Avett Brothers.
He did the Red Rocks poster, right?
Absolutely. Did the Red Rocks poster. And he came on up and brought some good energy, some rainbow vibes to the studio, and hand painted a mural of 5 birds, kind of a mom and a dad bird, and then 3 little birds in the nest representing me, my wife, and my 3 kids.
That's awesome.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, man, Asheville's a great place. I encourage everybody to have a visit and get in touch with me and come on by and make some glass.
That's awesome.
We just might stop by and go to a couple waterfalls this summer.
Come on through. Love to have you.
So what else do you do for fun when you're not blowing glass there?
Man, there's a lot to do in Asheville. I wish I could take part more in it, but a lot of my extracurriculars are revolving around my children.
Yeah.
I do like to ride my mountain bike every other day.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
What kind of bike you got?
It's a Specialized.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got like front and back shocks?
Yep.
Nice.
And so, I get it out there. There's a network of trails like no other through Asheville. You could ride for literally hundreds of miles and not touch the same place. So I do a lot of riding with my friend Justin Freeman Glass, and I do it solo, but I coach all my kids' sports, and so that's a huge part of it.
What sports are that?
It just depends on what time of year. Like right now, we're in basketball season, and so they're all signed up for basketball. In the spring, it's soccer, and during the summers, it's a different mix. Like my daughter does gymnastics in the summers, and
nice.
my kids do. My boys do flag football sometimes.
How old are they again?
11 is my eldest, and then 10 is my my eldest is my boy, and then my middle child she's 10, and then my youngest is 4. But yeah, I mean, one day a week for each of those practices. So it's usually like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that I'm coaching. And then Saturdays are an all-day event. We wake up at like 8 o'clock, and then we get out there. I'm coaching one game from like 9 to 11, and then 1 to 3, and then 5 to 6 or something.
Is it just you coaching, or is there other parents too?
It's usually me and a co-coach, because as my glass path has become so busy, and I have to, head out of town, I always like to have somebody as a co-coach so that I can say, hey, listen, I won't be here this week, or I won't be here for a couple weeks, and they can hold down the fort. But yeah.
Nice. Do you bring like a big cooler full of like watermelon slices?
Well, what we do is it's like my wife is like a great team mom. She fills the role of team mom, and she kind of rallies all the other moms, and they get a snack schedule going. So you can guarantee at the end of every game, there's going to be some orange slices and some,
I remember that.
Yep, and some high C, and all the kids got to say thank you, so we rally them up, man.
Is your 4-year-old playing sports right now?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's in basketball with the YMCA. Okay. And at this age, we're not even doing much other than ball control, learning to bounce this thing. So it's a bunch of 3 and 4-year-olds. It's like, I call it herding cats, because it's just I don't know, stay here. You're doing great. Lots of positive affirmations. Get Goldie in
some basketball or
absolutely
soccer.
Absolutely. You should think about coaching too.
I would love to.
It's a great time. You don't have to, and especially up until they get into middle school, you don't have to know much about the game. You just have to, I always say there's 2 rules if you want to be on coach. And I call myself, Coach Karma, because all the moms and dads know that I'm blowing glass. It's Asheville. It's a very hip city. So, I remember I tried to hide that I was a glass blower. And then one of the moms was like, you should be proud of this. You got your Coach Karma. So I got a coach's jersey that says Coach Karma,
nice.
And if you want to be on Coach Karma's team, there's 2 rules. You got to try your best, and you got to have fun. And so, try your best doesn't mean saying I'm trying my best. It means I'm like checking their brow. Hey, are you sweaty? Okay, let's go. Come on. And
That's
so
awesome.
I want those guys to make this a positive experience, because youth sports can be something that really builds you up as a person, or it can be something that really makes you feel like, oh man, I don't want to come, because some coaches take it so seriously and make it such an unpleasant experience. that I just remember.
Kids are crying.
Yeah, I remember from the coaches I loved the most were the ones where you felt like, oh, this is just like an extension of PE. You know, this is just a great time. We're playing dodgeball or playing, baseball or what have you. But I get to see my friends, and no one's gonna make me feel rotten for performing less than.
You teach them life lessons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that competitive edge kind of just comes naturally. As you get a little
older. Absolutely, it's nothing needs to be driven into them. You're 100% right. So.
Yeah, I love sports as a kid. Are you taking notes, Matt?
What? For what?
Coach Karma?
Oh yeah, I am totally. Yes,
I'm taking notes. I don't even have kids.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, man, it's a good time. I can't figure out if it's keeping me young or making me old, but I'm enjoying the ride,
it's definitely young at heart.
Double-edged sword. Should we talk about the piece you guys brought out?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, it's one of our 3 that we made, and we made a few pendies too.
Yeah, absolutely. We got one of the pendies right here as well. Giraffe head pendant featuring.
Hold it out in
wigged
front of your
out.
face.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like so it focuses. There you go. Boom.
Absolutely.
And you're going to Vegas, right?
Yeah, we're going to both be at Vegas, and that was definitely kind of, I know, some of the intention behind us getting together is so that we could
Have a piece or two.
Yeah, both have a piece or two on our table. And so, this piece here, is this one also, will y'all have the camera, or should we grab it and show this one as well?
I like to let Matt grab all the things.
Show the people what we're working with.
This one rips. This one has water in it right now.
Yeah, give them a little test. Give them a little test pull. Effortless function with no spill, no sip. Wonderful piece. Yeah, man.
We got another giraffe in the works, right?
Yep, absolutely. And that one's kind of a fun take on, a new style for both of us, really, right?
Yeah.
What are you calling that style?
This new one, the latest one we have yet to finish is just like a classic giraffe. But you took the white lines out of your prep, and then I put the white dots on, so it kind of has that white and Karma.
Yeah, brings the color palette back together in a fun, different way. And it's fun because the white kind of camouflages the prep on the body, but what you can see through in the cobblestone kind of areas, if you will, is just fun play with the light and the color. It's different, you can.
And then the head's going to be pretty much all Karma prep, and then the feet too. So it'll tie it in nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a heat.
No, I haven't seen this piece yet, have I?
No.
Okay.
No, it's hot in the film right now.
Yeah.
Let's finish it
so
tonight.
hot.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have lots of work for Vegas, or?
I'm not, man. I'm only gonna have a few pieces. My traditional strategy with Vegas has always been to I want to present as much as I can, but inevitably with the way things are, things being busy, and it's hard for me to get too much on the table. So what I tend to do is I tend to bring what I have, and sometimes I'll even bring a piece that is, closest made to Vegas, but that was a custom order that had already been on the books maybe for like a year, but I'll get their permission. Hey, listen, your order just happened to come up at this time. Let me get your permission to take this and put it on my table, just so I can show the most recent body of art that I've been producing with my friends,
Very cool.
And so that way I can at least show them, and we can at least discuss interest. And I use Vegas as a sounding board for the current interest, as well as a chance to meet and greet the community and look everybody.
What do you mean by that? A sounding board?
So I use it as a way to check the waters and see what the next year of my life holds, as far as like how people are feeling about the things that I've been up to. And so I'll use it as a place to
guide.
Yeah, I'll use it.
See what's
and booking shows and drops
is.
out. Yeah, absolutely. So right now I'm currently booked through 2023, but I'll express that to everybody at Vegas, and I'll say, hey, what are you guys doing in 2024, and how can we work together and grow together? And some people may want to do they may want to buy a piece, pay retail for it or close to retail, and do a giveaway for their weed brand. And then some people may want to come in and build a whole body of work, and they may have a certain group of artists that they say, man, I would love it if you can work with these guys. These guys, we have an interaction with our collector base that they love these artists, and everyone's clamoring to see this rainbow on this artist's finished forms. And so I'll use Vegas as a way to say, hey, okay, what's the interest doing this year, and how are people feeling? And so that's a big part of Vegas, as well as,
meeting the fans.
Meeting people and shaking their hands and looking them in the eye and seeing how we both feel about what's going on. And because we can talk as long and hard as we want through our direct messages, but nothing beats a face-to-face connection to kind of figure out who is it that I'm working with. You know, their name is, Dr. Dank 42069 on the other end of the line, and turns out this guy owns 14 head shops in the Northwest, and he's a genuine professional that you never would have been able to ascertain that off of a direct message. So it's a positive thing to get in there and get connected with people and meet other artists. I think the first time I ever met you was you introduced yourself last year at Vegas. You were like, hey, just real quick, I'm Matt. And I was like, oh, hey, wow, nice to meet you, man. Right?
That's when we met the first time. Yeah. Because you were with J-Mass last year, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so it's a great opportunity to connect with homies. Then I saw you down at the mansion party down in Miami.
Man, that party was so sick.
At Basel, that was off the charts, right? We're down there. There's naked women with sushi on them.
Fire dancers.
Fire dancers.
It was Megnut.
Yeah.
She's kind of really exposing it to a whole new scene.
Absolutely.
By throwing that party.
Yeah, she threw an incredible party down there. Yeah, her and
the
Nick,
Glass
right?
Gala.
Yeah, the Glass Gala.
Yeah, that was dope.
For Basel. And so I wasn't even sure what I was doing that evening, but I was rolling with Banjo, and he was like, yeah, come on with us. And I went, and then you were there, and you said, hey man, let's still work together. And I said, I'll book a ticket. And then I did, and here we are. And so it's positive to go to these industry events where we can, go belly to belly with people that we have a chance to create with, even if it's just to show mutual respect, and you have no intention to create together, but just to be like, hey man, I respect what you're doing and keep on your path. It's a great little convention in that way. So. Yeah, man.
Networking.
That's how I roll.
But making homies on long.
You guys said naked sushi.
Naked sushi. We kind of breezed over that.
I'm sorry.
Let's dive into that.
Trying to dial it back.
There were lemurs there at this.
Oh yeah, I had a bird on my arm. This big white parrot.
Yeah.
Wow. It was incredible.
And it was mentioned in Forbes magazine too.
Yes.
So that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And Matt and all the other participating artists were mentioned by name in Forbes. So it was exciting. A great new exposure, and this.
People want to smoke, dude. So even those were a lot of producers and Instagram influencers and all that stuff. So everybody wants to smoke. They want nice things. This is where you get them.
And she did an interesting thing. She's a social media influencer / OnlyFans model.
This is Meg Nut.
Yep.
Meg. Yeah. What's her? I don't know her last name, but Meg. She goes by on Instagram.
Yep.
Cool. And then Butterscotch too.
Okay.
I think. So that's her weed one.
Okay.
Where she's hitting.
Yeah, and so it's cool to see people like that entering the space and getting excited about it and then putting their spin on it, because I think all of us collectively, if we would have ever thought to throw a party like that, it would have happened by now. And so to see that happen where all the little details were thought out. Yeah,
it was at this dope mansion on the water.
Incredible.
Cool.
So yeah, man. So it's good to go to these events, and even if you don't have as much to offer, just to get out there and be seen and remind people that you're a part of the community and that you care enough about the community to,
show up to a party.
Yeah, show up to the event, whatever it may be, because in that case his art was being displayed, but my art was being
used too.
Yeah,
and it sold that night too.
Yeah,
it's fucking awesome.
So cool.
Full circle. It's always a blessing.
So, dude, we've been working together for a while, the last few days, and you've been freestyling in the background. Dude.
Oh, yeah,
you
totally.
are fucking talented at that.
Totally. Well, there's a saying within the hip-hop community that rap is something you do, but hip-hop is how we live, And, when you take the word hip, it's just to be, that's hip. Oh, man, that cat's hip. Yeah. It's to be knowledgeable, right? And hop, that's a form of movement, hop on one leg. So to be hip while you move is conscious movement. Right? Mm-hmm. It's to move with a hip nature, with a conscious nature, and to be aware of the things that are in your surroundings. And when you look at the seeds of hip hop back in the Bronx in the late 70s and the early 80s, and you look at say Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, it wasn't what you see today, which is rap music, you know, which is the rap music product. It was a conscious cry to the entire world. It was like broken glass everywhere. People pissing on the stairs, you know, they just don't care. Can't take the smell, can't take the noise. No money to move out, I guess I got no choice. Rats in the front room, roaches in the back. There's junkies in the alley with a baseball bat. I try to get away, but I can't get far because the man with the tow truck repossessed my car. Don't push me. You know, it was like same thing that reggae music was in the beginning, right? It's that same seed that said, man, shit is bad in Trenchtown. Shit is bad in the Bronx. This is like a third world country. And so that conscious voice in the wilderness that became what everyone colloquially knows as rap music is something that I've been interacting with and practicing as a lifestyle for the better part of 2 decades, you know. I found hip hop when I was 17 years old, and, you know, I was in a real pivotal time in my life, and I found an album called Spiritually Minded by KRS-One, and you know, it showed me that, you know, rap can be something that educates while it entertains, you know. And KRS,
conscious rap, dude.
Yep. Edutainment. You know, KRS coined that term, and that's something that stuck with me since I've been interacting with it, you know, because there's many different elements to hip hop. You know, hip hop has, you know, street fashion, street entrepreneurialism, DJing, MCing, you know, controlling the mic, all the way down to graffiti art. There's this, you know, hieroglyphic type way that the graffiti community interacts with each other through tagging and street art. And so I try to embody that through the way I live because, you know, that's kind of the love that is present in hip hop is what kind of saved me. And I mean that by, like, I found it on my path and it woke me up to something where it said, whoa, how you living? What are you doing? How do you treat others? Why? Why do you do that? Think, you know, and just be conscious of the way you're thinking. And so, you know, that love that, you know, that love that is present in hip hop, that's the, you know, that's a love that saved me. And so I practice that, you know, and even all the way down to, like, you know, I don't just spit freestyles on my, you know, on my posts, which I do like to do, and I like to say I make art about the art. So we'll make the art and then I'll spit a freestyle about it. But I mean, that's me around the house with my kids. I'm like, yo, kids, listen to what your mother said. It's not for bad. You're giving me an ache in my head. You know, I'm just constantly spitting bars and having fun. So that's an art form and an expression that has brought me peace throughout the years.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah.
And you're so good at it, too.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. Hip hop is definitely something that, you know, allows. I'm not good on the drums. I'm not good with a guitar. So it allows me to express myself.
It's so poetic. Like, it's, you know, you can express what you're seeing through words and rhyme them together.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and your mind
on the spot.
And your mind takes it in as a fluid, you know, a fluid thing. Like when your mind listens to music, you know, Bob Marley said, you know, one good thing about music, when it hits, you feel no pain. Like when you hear something musically, it enters in a sonic way that's different than when because someone could just tell you, like, you know, they could tell you a message, like, you know, let's think of, you know, like a KRS-One lyric, you know, he's like talking, there's like a song of his called You Must Learn, you know, and in the whole song, he's talking about prolific black men throughout time. He's like, you know, talking about Benjamin Banneker, who invented the almanac. He's talking about Haile Selassie. And if someone just sat you down and was like telling you about Benjamin Banneker, you'd be like, oh man, okay, I might like that. But he's like freestyling to you. And it's something that enters in your mind in a different way. So I've always appreciated hip hop, and I've always tried to practice it in my daily life, you know.
Yeah. And you find the more you practice it, the better you get at putting, like,
just like anything else, man. The more
together.
focus and intention you put into anything, you know, the better off and the more you're going to be at it. It's like glass blowing or being a dad or being a friend, you know. The more you stop and put focus and intention on it, like, dang, how am I treating my people?
Examine, check yourself.
Yeah. So that's the energy of hip hop, is to examine and to be conscious and aware of how we're interacting with the world around us.
It's a good positive message.
Yeah, man. It is positive. It's genuinely saved my life, man.
Hell yeah. Fuck. So what else are we going to talk about?
Man, this has been great.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. You know, I wish we had a beat. I could end off with a freestyle.
Should we put a beat on? How do we do that?
I mean, we could pull one up via cell phone.
Yeah.
We won't have any bass to it, but
let's do it.
I'll hold it close to the mic like I do when I make my posts on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like an instrumental.
It'll certainly pick it up.
All right. Let's see what it's gonna be about. It's off the head top. All right. Okay. Here we go. This has been the Robertson Stash, been a blast. You know what my message is? To smoke more hash. Life ain't gonna last, so do what you can. Life is a blessing and go real zen. It's a choice that you make. Listen, I love to bake, but what you like to do, man, life give and take. That's the karma of life. Listen, I spit the light. When I come through, you know I ain't looking for the fight. What you like? Yo, I'm spreading rainbows all day. That's how I do, and you know that I don't play. Hip hop is a blessing onto my life, and so I'm gonna share it with you when I spit that light. Never hype, always gonna follow the flow. Life is a blessing if you choose to grow. What you know, this the message from karma to you. Live your life and live it true. Yee!
That was dope, dude. That was good.
Let's go.
That was fucking awesome.
Yee!
Some
All right,
90s
man.
boom bap.
That's right.
Should we rip one of these, dude?
Sure.
Do a dab?
Yeah.
It's Dr. Dabber.
Let's give a shout out to our sponsors, man.
Yeah, let's
Absolutely.
do that.
We got Dr. Dabber,
Thank you,
Harmony
guys.
Extracts, Grassroots, Moodmats, Low Temp. All been wonderful sponsors for season 1.
Absolutely, man. Those low temp plates, man, they squish it just right. Dude, that was
man.
fun to be
That
here for
was
Squish Day.
Oh, yeah, we did that.
Yeah, absolutely,
That was
man.
a lot
Took
of
some
fun.
fresh squeezed dabs.
Yeah, that was lit, dude. Low temps.
Super stinky.
Is there stuff in here?
Check,
so?
I think so. Shout out to you know, everybody on that list. You know, Grassroots is somebody that I've made some clothing with. We did the drop, sold out the first night. Let's go.
Yeah,
Grassroots always killing it. You got Moodmats. Those are the family. You know,
we got some coasters by them right here too. We got some-
absolutely, man. I'm part of the artist series, so I love working with Moodmats. Also, you got the homies Harmony Extracts. You shared that hash with me. So
Yeah.
fire. Get
Yeah.
out of town, bro. So lit.
hell yeah.
And then what? Dr. Dabber saved the day, right?
On our ski trip, yeah.
At Keystone. We
Dude,
wouldn't have been able to smoke
Let's talk
hash.
about that fucking Einstein's bagels, dude.
Dude, I don't want to talk about the Einstein's bagels, man.
We wait in this line for like 20 minutes, and then they're like, we get there and they're like, we don't have any water, no running water, no coffee.
Yeah, so they let us get to the front of the line before they say, "Oh, by the way, guys, we can't make coffee." And we're like, "What?" And they were out of everything.
It was
bagels.
just, like, disgusting back there.
It was rough, dude. It was like a war zone in there. It was like downtown Beirut.
Yeah, these
down
things
there.
were.
We were like ready to go.
So
to
no
the ski
coffee.
trip.
They pull an airline.
coffee.
They pull an airline's move and wait till the last second to tell you. they
Yep.
can't
Oh,
do
yeah.
it.
Yep.
Oh man.
It was terrible.
So
We had fun skiing. It was good.
so no
Those
coffee.
things rip. No coffee, and then we get coffee there, just like little Starbucks ones, cold. That was like
Gross.
$30 for like three of them. We got a water, 2 of those. It was like $27. Yeah, I was ready to ski.
Man.
Good
But we
times,
did it.
man. Yeah, we
Fun.
did it. Absolutely,
That
man.
was great.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. What a great show you got here, man. I look forward to watching you guys grow and
Thank you, man.
keep
Yeah.
on pursuing this dream, man. It looks like you guys have had some awesome episodes, and I
Yeah.
can't wait for the drop, man.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, thanks for coming on, Kevin. We're gonna go wrap up our work now,
Yeah.
and thanks for everyone tuning in too.
Yep,
Appreciate
absolutely,
it.
man. Thanks for everyone tuning in from the Karma Tribe and beyond. You can find me at KarmaGlass420
Yeah.
on Instagram, and throw me a line. I'll always hit you back.
All right, man.
Let's
Cool.
wrap it up.
Okay, well, I'm Matt.
I'm Sean.
I'm Karma.
See you guys later.
Yee!